Ben, when was the last time? When was the last time you washed those things, Ben?
Washed what, Dad?
Your bottoms. They look all stained. Why don't you leave those in the hamper so Grace can wash those, because they're really disgusting.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the stains all over your bottoms.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do wash them. They're just indelible stains. They're...
I don't want to know.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's, bad stains. It's food and drinks.
Yeah, I don't think you should take snacks to bed anymore at night,
You want me to take off the
What?
You want me to pull these off?
I certainly do
I don't think you want to see.
Nope, I don't.
All right. Look, whatever you want, Dad.
But here's my point. You bring a snack to bed. Yeah. You go to bed at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. An hour, 2 hours later, you're up for your midnight snack.
All right, I'm taking them off.
Okay, now that's... I remember... Well, first of all, I'm with Jonathan Katz and Laura Silverman, who played Laura, the receptionist. That cold opening... do you remember how proud we were when we found out that that's what that was called?
Yeah, we didn't know the term cold opening.
Yeah. I had seen them for years on Cheers, and was so impressed by this very slick technique. Right. And when we realized we could do our own cold openings, it was a great day.
Could you just tell
because we're...
I'm not going to be into work today?
And
Oh, really?
I don't remember if I said this the last time around, but Tom and I were hoping not to embarrass our families when we started making the show. We never thought it would catch on the way it did.
I'm sorry.
Until we actually saw it.
Well, until we met Laura and John Benjamin,
right.
We realized
that's what I meant.
We had monster talents on our side.
Yeah.
Also, when we brought Lauren Bouchard in, who was a young fella, a kid right off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could put in those editing hours.
Do you know what Lauren was doing before we brought him in to be an assistant editor or producer? I think he was a bouncer at a club in Boston.
Right.
And I think he was pulling cable for some wiring company. I'm not sure, something like that. But anyway, he came in and became the conscience of Dr. Katz, would you say that?
Yeah, I think he really fell in love with audio editing and with the idea of what's the word I'm looking for?
Roundish.
No, it sounds like
I don't know. Laura, any thoughts?
Laura,
Sorry.
In this episode, I look for a word. No, but he liked the idea of assembling comedy, which is what you do as an audio editor.
Right, the retro-scripting.
Right.
Yes. Yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
trademarked.
Yeah.
A term of art where we, there was a script, but the script was a backup. Really, first and foremost, we were coming off of an outline. And I remember, Laura, I think it was in the second or third episode, we had written an episode where the doctor was going to ask you to get coffee. And you were going to say no. It never happened because Lauren put his foot down very early on and said, I don't think Laura would do that. I don't think she would not get it. She would get it and just be difficult about it or something. And it was kind of true.
Yeah, I think what you said was, sure. And then you said, do you want something also? Because you
Oh, right.
Yeah, you pretend it was for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe Ben asked you if you wanted to go out for coffee.
Oh, right.
Now, this episode was, John, you and I were both talking about our problems managing our own lives over lunch, and you had your first assistant.
That's right. Melissa, who I didn't really know why I had an assistant, but somebody was paying her salary, so I said, why don't you just label stuff? And that's what she did for about 6 months.
And we both realized there was a great episode about Dr. Katz not having any idea how to run his assistant, how to manage her, how to employ her. Oh, here's Ray Romano.
All righty. Nice to be back.
We discovered him.
That's right, we did.
I've been on the road a lot.
Yeah. And how was that?
I was in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
You been there?
Sure. Been there.
There's a town, huh? Crazy.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah.
Drive-through wedding chapels. Did you see that?
I've seen that, yes.
How about legalized prostitution? Huh? So I hear over there.
Yeah. It's all over there.
And it was hot. When were you? Were you there in the summer?
Yeah, it's very, very hot.
114 degrees.
So, Laura,
You know what?
I like your claim that we discovered Ray Romano. Say more about that, would you?
I think that says it all. I don't know.
Yeah, he even said, which I think was generous of him, that before Raymond, his show,
Yeah.
this is the most visibility he ever had as a performer, Dr. Katz.
That could be true.
Yeah.
He kind of
bet
he
it
was
is
like
true?
our little gem.
And also Dom. For Dom had the same experience. He would travel around the world, and that's people would recognize him from that show, from Dr. Katz.
So where's Dom today?
Hell, eh?
Not as good of a story.
Well, you know, there's a lot of illness involved.
Oh, that's a low blow.
That's true. No.
So John, the doctors can't manage. I think you're trying to give Laura a raise in this episode, aren't you?
That's right. I'm trying to keep her interested in working for me without it actually costing me any money.
Laura, have you ever done secretarial work?
I don't think I have, actually. I've done some sort of like clerical, administrative type things, I guess.
The woman,
Filing.
the woman who played Julie, the bartender, actually did become an administrative assistant. And let's say it flipped, and you had become the administrative assistant for Dr. Katz in addition to being the secretary in the show. Would you have?
What are you saying?
I'm saying
Would you have done well at that?
relationship is not doing well right now, Dad.
Would I personally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
How do you have streamlined my office?
You mean you, actually you, or the character?
No, the Dr. Katz.
Oh.
You know, if you, the real, or the make-believe Laura.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused now, John.
Oh,
I would
Lord.
have done it really well.
You think of what I'm thinking?
I would have like filed a lot of stuff and made some calls.
It's about what Melissa did.
Yeah.
I would have gotten well, it depends if the internet was invented yet.
Oh, that's right.
That dates it.
Oh man, I think my third assistant at Albion Productions, also on the web, at Albion Productions, she was so miserable. She just talked to her boyfriend online all the time in Ireland.
Yeah.
And then I hired somebody to cheer her up. Oh, I wish I was making that up.
That's not really true.
It's true.
Yes, it is true.
Oh no.
He had
Bad business instincts.
a chain staff, a staff of people who are all trying to help each other.
Yeah. One of the... Oh, where are we now? We're back in the... Oh, who's that?
You know what I hate these women?
Oh, that's
who are so
Carol
thin,
Leifer.
And then they still want to lose like more weight. I hate that.
Yeah, they have a problem.
And they're like really teeny women, you know, kind of women that like can't get those supermarket doors to automatically open. You know, they use like chapstick for deodorant.
Well, you have a similar problem with the aerobics people.
I can't stand it. You know, I mean, these women in these tapes are like, okay, lie on your back, throw your legs over your head. Now run in place.
If that points out sort of the technique we used, we at first put the comedians in the room with Jonathan and said, pretend it's a shrink session. And then we realized it went so much better if we took Carol or whoever and put them in the booth and said, do your routine. And we'll try to get a little bit of an audience out here and listen to you. And then we went in after the fact and cut it up so you could hear, John, you setting up her with, tell me about the aerobics, like doing a panel.
I always compared therapy to a bad talk show. I still do. Well, you've been in therapy. Isn't it kind of like that?
Have I?
Oh, Lord.
How is that going? But that's one of the things I wanted to ask you.
It's
Yeah.
great. I actually turned out all those years I just had a pebble in my shoe.
Oh, that's a
It just
great...
never felt right.
God, I wish you were Jewish, because that sounds like a great Jewish folk tale.
Did you know, Laura, that that's a form of prophylactic for keeping, for men? It's birth control for men?
What
A
is?
pebble in the shoe?
Yeah, because it makes you limp.
Oh, I get it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry I wasn't more generous.
Wait, Jonathan, you tell it.
Laura, explain, because I don't think we were off mic before when you explained Jonathan's particular gift in this department.
Oh, yeah, well, it's just a well-known fact in the comedy community, if I may, which I am on the fringes of, that Jonathan is one of those few people that can tell the most corny and hack jokes, and they actually really are funny when he tells them.
John, tell the Pebble one.
Well, what's the weather like in L.A. right now?
It's nice.
Because if the rain keeps up, it won't come down. I'm just here. If you're watching at home, kids, here I'm offering Laura.
Let's listen to a bit of that.
Yeah. Well, pinch yourself and wake up. This is happening. This is not a dream. This is real.
I cannot believe it.
Can I pinch you?
If you want a lawsuit, how is this different from receptionist?
Well, I won't be able to pay you as much, but there'll be additional responsibility.
That is funny.
Yeah. I love to kid around about titles.
She's crazy, my daughter. See, that's
How old is she now?
right now. She's 4,
Yeah.
and she's
And that's a good age.
She can be. Yeah, that's the privilege of being 4. You can be crazy. You don't got to come for therapy at 4.
That was just, Laura, I tell you, it's such a wonderful feeling to be able to watch these and hear you laugh, because you really were on your best behavior in the booth. And then
We
you
want to bleed onto the track with laughter.
We didn't have the kind of sophisticated booth where we could isolate each individual. So if someone stepped on someone's line with a laugh, we had to redo it. It's not that it was that tight, but can't believe you restrained yourself.
Well, I remember.
Yeah, and then we were never together when we watched them.
That's
Yes.
right. I remember the first time you came in, just covering you in a blanket and tying you up.
Oh, to isolate her?
You just isolate the sound.
Laura, I feel terribly guilty suddenly.
Why?
How come we didn't run it like a nice little studio and have a little party for every episode and bring everyone over and have wine and cheese and watch the episode together? Probably they did that on The Simpsons.
Well, we had those Friday night parties
Well, a lot
at
of the
the
time-
ranch.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, John and I didn't live in Boston anymore. Remember?
Right.
You guys got famous so fast.
Oh, right.
And what I always think is interesting is that your relationship with John Benjamin, the person,
Yes.
it sort of played out, a lot of it during these early episodes of Dr. Katz, so that not only were you angry at him often in character,
Yeah.
but also weren't you personally finding him annoying as well?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Looking back on
Maybe
it,
that's no one's business.
It was.
Hey,
Okay.
I take that back.
No, it is everyone's business, and I'd like
okay.
her to
No,
say.
it's just I think it was hard for me because we were together. It was hard for
Right.
me to like.
Dr. Katz.
I was very
Laura
inexperienced,
has a
so it was
major
like
attitude, and she
it was
starts in
hard
with
for
me.
me
I don't
to
start in with
kind of
her, okay?
separate like him like talking
ask
over
a
me
simple
all the
question.
time
I
and
said,
stuff
"Do
like
you
in the
have
booth
a more
from
recent-"
Right.
like I would get irritated with him.
I think
And then
that's
I
a
think
very
it was
legitimate
like
question.
season
You have
4
really old
or
people in
5
there, Dr.
we
Katz,
we
if you
broke
don't mind
up.
my saying.
Mhm.
You have Chris
And
Everett
then
John
everyone was
Lloyd on the
nervous that it was going to
cover,
affect us working
Happy
together, but it actually
newlyweds.
like
These are
it suddenly
old,
was so
old
easy because I
issues.
didn't care. Like it didn't. I
Right.
didn't take it as personally anymore because he
Right.
wasn't my boyfriend.
Right.
We were just kids.
Yeah, and for those of you at home, when Laura says boyfriend, she's talking about
Laura, how old were you
25.
when you auditioned for us?
25.
Laura, John Benjamin didn't remember this, but do you remember when you two came in and he auditioned and you auditioned? We knew you were going to be the secretary, but Ben was auditioning to play the part of John's elderly father.
No, that's not
true.
what happened.
That's
Yeah,
true.
we have it on tape.
Really?
Yeah.
No, well, actually, but also we did, you didn't know for sure if I was going to be the secretary. Because I did a thing where I was his girlfriend and he was the son.
That's right. Yeah, we were just feeling our way.
Yeah, it was all just kind of like we were just sort of like in
got
your
lucky.
kitchen pantry,
it
seeing
was-
what would happen.
And you brought up another thing. John. I think we could all agree that John Benjamin is probably one of the most gifted improv people we've ever
Yeah.
met.
Definitely.
He's just
Unbelievable.
he's phenomenal, and most people who have worked with him would say that. One of the things he does is he does not play by the rules, and he does step whenever he feels like it or change the direction, and that must.
And I just didn't have that skill, so I was always just kind of like nervous and worried about being funny, and he would just sort of get in a zone and go, and so I think that was just hard for me. I was probably jealous.
But Tom described you as your strength as being kind of like a comedic sniper.
I did. That was earlier today, Laura. That you could sit up in a high tower and take perfect shots.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's true.
thank you.
And I mean that in the,
Well, I think that is kind of like, in a way, it's kind of my personality, but at the time, I think I just didn't really even have an awareness of that, so like I couldn't like embrace it as much.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Well, we certainly used
I
to.
still managed to be great, though. Funny how that happens. Anyway, Jonathan, is this too off topic, or can you tell the story of the dying words of your uncle?
Oh,
Because I love that story.
well, this is I guess it's a true story. It's my grandfather who I was living with when I was a young man, and it was one of my first dates, maybe my first date, and I modeled for him, and he's was wearing sneakers and a like a khaki pants and a blazer, sport jacket and a shirt, and he suggested that I change my shoelaces, and so I did that, and I came back in the room and he said, "New laces make a big difference." And then he keeled over and died. Is that the story you meant?
Yeah.
Which was the death of my grandfather, but it was the birth of the game Don't Die. Because now if you're with somebody and you say something incredibly trite, you could say "Don't die," because you wouldn't want to have to tell their parents that their last words were, "Ketchup is salty." It is a great game.
Good.
And he was.
Now it's everybody's.
Yeah, he was my dad's dad. He was not. I don't think he liked me that much.
Get it off your chest.
Did we mention that your dad died while we were recording?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but
I think we did, perhaps.
But I think that was later on in the fourth season. He hung in there for the first couple of seasons. He was.
And he lost interest.
Yeah, like my father-in-law.
It wasn't enough anymore.
One of the things that keeps my father-in-law alive is the fact that someday the Red Sox are going to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's dead now. No, no, my father was hanging in there for syndication. That's a terrible joke. Sorry.
Yeah, but he did die while we were recording.
Yeah, he did die.
I mean, while we were recording.
Yeah, and I was so emotionally raw that I would laugh at almost anything.
John.
Oh God, look
And
at
then
you.
we did that episode.
Could we turn this one up?
Yeah,
a
I'm
bit?
singing to you now. Can you help me out? Can you help me out on this one? Dashing through the snow.
I'd rather not.
Okay, we can come back to that. Let me put my guitar down, and we'll just have a little something to eat, and we'll catch up.
Okay.
'Cause you know what? We see each other every day, but you know what we don't do?
What?
We don't talk to each other. You know how much I know about your life outside of this office? Nothing. I don't even know. I don't know if you're into sports, what kind of music you like, if you collect something.
You know what, though?
Yeah.
I have to go.
Okay. Well, I thought first we could just get acquainted a little bit. Do you want? I got some. Do you like diet soda or regular soda with the pretzels?
Yeah, I have to go.
Prefer that. Yeah. Okay. Well, then we can. We can do this another time. It doesn't have to be tonight. The holiday.
Okay.
It's just arbitrary, really. But if you want to come back, I think Ben's going to be stopping by.
Oh.
And he should be here any minute.
Okay.
And
I have to go.
Okay, can I ask you one thing first?
Yeah.
Will you help me out on this tune? Jingle bells, jingle. How about this?
I gotta go.
Okay, but first let's try this.
But if Ben shows up after I leave, you just tell him that I left.
Okay, if you want to hook up later somewhere at another party, I'm scot-free tonight.
Dr. Katz,
Yeah.
you're coming so close to tugging on my heartstrings.
I'm sorry, I'll back up.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Dr. Katz,
Yeah.
thanks.
Well, thank you.
Did I give you a raise?
I forget it.
Now, Laura, I gotta ask,
I'll tell you one thing about
did you feel
you really have to.
that was either a difficult scene or a scene that didn't belong because it would put Laura out of character there?
I mean, that was always tricky because the character was so, like, sort of very strictly defined that almost everything was out of character. And so I just kind of would not really know. I think I was a little hesitant.
I love that moment.
Yeah, when she says to me thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very sweet. Hey, by the way, you're welcome.
Well, I mean, I think it was clear. I mean, she always did sort of care about him, though.
Right.
She wasn't really a total bitch. She just kind of didn't really want to get
Engage.
involved.
Yeah, she didn't want to engage in his life.
Yeah.
Hey, this is. I guess this is a Christmas party that no one showed up for except Ben and you.
Oh, Ben. Yeah, Ben will show up.
Yeah.
Dr. Katz, you're wearing that little thing on your head there. The little. Oh, do you know what it is? It's what's the leaf that you kiss someone?
It's a mistletoe.
You're wearing mistletoe.
Yeah.
And I remember Annette, Kate, the animator, begged me not to have you wear it because you had to be redrawn completely with mistletoe.
It also looks like headphones in this resolution,
Yeah.
but maybe it'll look like mistletoe on a better resolution.
Dashing through the snow, now me. Dashing through the... I said me. Okay. Now
Did we have to get permission for that song?
God, I wish I'd written that.